What's up, it's your boy LOE Visuals. I'm back with another video. How y'all day going? Hope y'all vibing, y'all chilling, y'all enjoying y'all day on a productive day. We back at it. Before I start, make sure y'all smash the like button, smash the like button, smash the like button. We want to roll to 10K subscribers. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on post notifications on. Find me on any other platform. My link tree is in my bio. Follow my X at Visuals LOE. Follow my TikTok at LOE.Visuals. And follow my Facebook at LOE Visuals. So let's talk about it. So, Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez seem to be blowing up even more. They had their little press conference or whatever, during Canelo's Crawford fight week, if I'm not mistaken. And, they've been kind of going back and forth. Teo is trying to, display that, usual confidence, but I just don't think it's working on Shakur Stevenson. I think Shakur Stevenson really feels like he has Teofimo Lopez's number, and crazy as that sounds, Shakur would be the guy moving up, but he really feel like he can get Teofimo Lopez. Teo at 140, he's the WBO and Ring Magazine champion, so he's the best guy at 40 right now. Shakur, I wouldn't say he's the best guy at 35. A lot of people push back and give me flack and say it's Tank, but I mean, it's that's a discussion that could be had, especially how Tank struggled with Lamont Roach, that could be debated if we wanted to. That could, in all honesty, that definitely could be debated, who's the best guy at lightweight. As far as star power, people gonna say Tank, but who's really the best guy? I mean, most, accomplished, it's possibly Shakur, but that's another topic for another day. But yeah, it's kind of, I think that fight has potential to be a banger, it's a stylistic fight, Shakur with his boxing style, very defensive sound. Then you got Teo, the boxer puncher. Teo, I think in this fight, I think he would have to realize that you can't outbox Shakur Stevenson. So you have to kind of turn it, into spurts where you being aggressive. And I don't think Teo likes to be super aggressive in fights. He likes to use his athleticism and counter here and there and land quick shots. But, in fights where Teo isn't the most athletic, he usually struggles. And I think Shakur is a great athlete. A lot of people seem to feel like this is a bad fight for Tim Bradley, And then you got some media outlets, kind of making complaints like, oh, yeah, Teo's not going to get a decision. Of course not. He's not going to just outbox. Teo's been gifted decision after decision, being that he was under top rank, and they had him through the top rank protection program. And, he was ducking out, he was getting decisions. Even though fights we felt like was close, this could have been a draw. Jermaine Ortiz, Sandor Martin, some of those fights are very close. And we just let it pass by. But, yeah, you guys are right, but it ain't like, Shakur's just gonna rob me. And in a point system fight where they're boxing, Shakur is gonna get the edge. He's gonna get the edge over Teo. Teo struggles with guys that can really box. And I don't think the size advantage, being that, Teo's really a lightweight move that move up to welterweight, I don't think that's just gonna, give him any advantage. Respectfully, I don't. So, he's in a tough situation. He's in a very tough situation with this Shakur Stevenson. And, a lot of people feel like, oh, Shakur's just calling out Teo because he doesn't want to fight some of his mandatories and these up-and-coming lightweights. Well, what's the problem with that? I've never seen a guy, get ridiculed for trying to go up and fight the best. It's certain fighters that have to deal with it, and Shakur is one of them. He's getting ridiculed because he wants to go fight the best fighters available. Sounds like blasphemy if you ask me. Respect. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be on one of these Turkey Al Sheikh cards. I wonder, do they have time to do it in like a December or like an October? I don't think they have enough time. So it could be next year, or if it's like late in November, that's possibly a chance. We'll have to see, because they still haven't made no official announcements. But you can kind of tell that it's a possibility, because I don't think Teo Teo I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to go up to 147 right now. You know, especially and deal with those killers, especially being that he's the guy at 140. It's Teo's world. You know, so I don't think Teo really wants to just jump and go straight to 147 when he can make a lot of money at 40 being the best. You know, it's still some fights that he can grab, especially being that Shakur's coming up. So, you know, it's a lot of situations, a lot of good situations from Keyshawn Davis is there. You know, it's a lot of fights for Teofimo Lopez. It's just on him to, you know, not be cowardly and take those fights, you know, and if we're being honest, you know. Shakur, you know, he has to really take advantage of these opportunities because, you know, he's trying to build a solid resume, and right now he's trying to, you know, capitalize off the Williams and Pedro win, which is smart, you know, being that that's a big win. A lot of people thought that Williams and Pedro was going to have Shakur Stevenson number. I think that's smart, you know, so why not? You know, Teo stylistically is a good style. You know, it could make, you know, Shakur look bad. I mean, look good, but it's a possibility that Shakur could lose. You know, Teo does show up in big fights. I just think, you know, there's always that in the back of their mind. You know, you gotta have that in the back of your mind. Teo does show up in big fights, and he could pose a lot of problems for Shakur Stevenson if, you know, he gets hot or, you know, getting that bag and you see, you know, Teo locked in. But you know, it depends on what Teo you get. You can see Teo very frustrated in this ring. You know, this isn't no Jermaine Ortiz or Sandor. This is the highest echelon, you know. And if we know anything, Teo does kind of lock in with it when he fighting the best. You know, we haven't seen him fight really, you know, the super high echelon since, you know, maybe Josh Taylor, you know, because he's been really chilling. Since he beat Josh Taylor Vasily, he really hasn't had to make any, you know, drastic changes. But I think that will has dried up. You know, people really want to see Teo in there with, you know, high-level guys. He's been ducking a few guys. Devin, you know, we wanted to see him in there with Booz. There's a lot of stuff happening with Teo. So hopefully we get to see this Shakur Stevenson fight. I think it's possibly going to be a banger, if you ask me, respectfully. But, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Make sure y'all smash the like button, smash the like button, smash the like button. We're on the road to 10K subscribers. Hit that subscribe button. Turn the post notifications on. I love you guys so much. I'm out.